Hello, everyone, and welcome to your monthly dose of practical magic. I am Patty Alfonso, and I'm here with Zah Haricharan. And this month is going to be really different, and I think it's going to be fun. Courtney, who's on the call today live, was saying earlier that she's having a very fun, giggly day. So I kind of get that that's the energy of what we're going to explore during this next hour. The space of creation is sort of the energy of what this call, of what this part of the series wanted to be. And so we're going to play with that. And I wanted to start off with, I don't know, some of you may have seen, I was in Dubai last week. I went to speak at an event with 40 other international experts. And part of attending the event was also being immersed kind of in the culture, and we got taken to all these kinds of different places. And I ended up at the top, or almost the top, of one of the tallest buildings in the world, the Burj Khalifa. And I'm up here, like on the 125th floor. There's still more floors above us. I don't know, I had a little video on my Facebook page if you saw it. And the energy of this class just like spoke to me so loudly. And I was looking out at all of Dubai, because it was also like a 360 view. So we walked around and I could see everything. And the question that came up for me up there was, how high are you willing to soar? How high are you willing to go? How far are you willing to go in your life? And so when I perceive the energy of like creation and choosing and creating your life, and that is for whatever it is that you're creating, whether it's you want to create a relationship, or you're creating your business, or you want to create more money, or you want to have more money, or you want to, whatever that is, right? We can apply these questions and these tools to anything. So how high are you willing to soar? And then Zah and I had been talking about, what we were going to look at during this call. And we did this before I even went to Dubai, and she had a bunch of stuff going on. So we kind of tapped into the energy a little bit early. And so we're going to look at what we think are these three sort of secret ingredients to creating with ease. And the energy of creation, it's there. It's available for everyone. It's available like right now. And when I posted that in the Facebook group, the energy of creation is available, I sort of started looking at that even deeper. And what I was looking at was like, if we look at nature and the trees and the flowers and the grass and the sun, it's always gifting. It's always present. There is always more. Sometimes there's times, like during winter when things sort of need to like hibernate and close and just kind of be with themselves. And then spring comes and the flowers bloom, and then summer comes. And, so the energy of nature, the energy of creation, that's kind of what came up for me. Just that it's ever present. It's ever changing. It's just there. So are you willing to choose it? Are you willing to choose something, to be aware of the possibilities, and to just create the life that you came here to create? So that's my little 2 cents at the top of the hour. I'm going to toss it on over to Zah to see what she would like to start us off with.
Well, for me, when we came up, with the space of creation, I straight away went to, well, what is that? That one point that I get to, that's the space where everything's almost, perfect. Like, what is that for me? And, when we looked at it further and further, and we came up with the 3 ingredients that we do have that we'll share with you guys a bit later on, it was like, wow, okay, it's not one thing. And it never is one thing when it comes to creation or when it comes to consciousness. Just because it kind of all fit in really well and nice and good here, 10 seconds later, bam, it's all changed. It is all different. So when it comes to creating, for me now, it's such a massive sense of, okay, what's going to work here? Okay, who do I need to talk to? There's a lot of questioning going on as well. And questions, as you all know, a question will empower. We're not looking for an answer. We're looking for an awareness of a possibility that we can choose. So just from our first Zoominar that we did was question, choice, possibility, which is, again, another great reference tool in order to get to, you know, your own space of creation and what it is that you would like to create. So from there, I started looking at, okay, and something that actually popped into my head about the space of creation was, I don't know if you guys remember the lady that had 8 children. I think they call her Octomum in the US. She had like 8 children. For some reason, she popped into my head, and I'm like, oh my God, well, I wonder what her space of creation would be, you know, to have 8 other individuals that you've got to take care of as well as you and create, and this, that, and the other. And I just started laughing because it's different for everyone, you know, and it's different depending on where you live, your culture, your race, your religion, your body type, like who you are, you know, where you're at. So these ingredients and these tools that we're going to share with you, they're, I want to almost say generic, but generic seems like a bit of a brush off for them. They'll basically work for everyone.
Are they
and
universal?
Everything. Yeah, there you go. Universal. Anytime, all the time. And it doesn't matter what you would like to create or see created or have created or who you'd like to create with. They'll work across the board. Like Patty said, if you're looking at changing, you know, something small in your life or your entire life, these tools are universal and they'll work straight across the board. So that's my little 2 cents worth on space of creation.
Awesome. And then when you were talking, yeah, when we first looked at it, there was a sort of like, okay, what is this space that we can be in that contributes to creation? And when the title first came up, right? Because I'm autistic, right? So the way that I create is like I have this like awareness of the future of what desires to be created in the world, and then that particular energy, that particular class, whatever it starts talking to me. So, you know, I'm autistic and I talk to entities, and so I'm using all of these different kinds of tools. So I think the class was like, oh, I want to be this, and I was like, okay, cool, the space of creation, that sounds awesome. And then as we got closer, I realized that the class was kind of giving me a bit of a wedgie. And I'll tell you why. And it ties to what I was saying before about the energy of creation is always available. And I remember when I was really involved, like in the spiritual community and in the spiritual movement, and my teachers, they all had this idea that I had to be like really zen and really quiet and like receive and like all this stuff that is so like not, you know. And in changing and in using the tools of access and going through great changes, you know, and having to choose to create through those changes as well. And I mean, like being uncomfortable with change, being uncomfortable with awareness, being uncomfortable with whatever is coming up. And then still like, okay, what do I want to create? What do I want to create today? What would I like to create? What will this choice create? You know, continuing, like Zah said, to be in the question. So there is no space of creation. Creation is always there. You know, you don't have to like be in a particular mood or, you know, like have everything set up in order or like have it all planned out before you choose to create. Like it's always there. It's always available. Now, we're going to share with you like 3 secret ingredients that contribute to creation, that will create creation being easier. But make no mistake, creation is available to you all of the time. What do you need to choose in order to create the life and living that you are desiring to create. And anything that doesn't allow you to perceive, know, be, and receive what that is, will you destroy and uncreate it? Right,
Yes.
wrong. Thank you. Right, wrong, good, bad, POC, POD, all nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. So the space of creation is a wedgie. Enjoy. It got me too. I was like, oh, wait a minute. When I really started looking and looking at it. And then I do have another clearing that I want to give you guys before we start with our 3 sort of secret ingredients. And again, if you have any questions or if you want to pop in, please feel free to unmute yourself. We would love to hear from you. And there is a call-in person. I think, what is it, Zal, like *6 to unmute yourself? Although we haven't really figured out if that's what
Correct.
works because no one's been able to do it. But hey, I think it's *6. Okay. So what have you defined as creation that has nothing to do with creation that keeps you from actually creating? And everything that is, will you destroy and uncreate it? Right.
Yes.
Bad, POC, POD, all nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. What have you defined as creation that has nothing to do with creation that keeps you from actually creating? Everything that is, will you destroy and uncreate it?
Yeah.
Right, wrong, good, bad, POC, POD, all nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. What have you defined as creation that has nothing to do with creation that actually keeps you from creating? And everything that is, will you destroy and uncreate it?
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, POC, POD, all nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. Okay. Do you want to go with our first secret to creating? See, that's the thing. The class was like, oh yeah, the space of creation, but then what we were going to talk about, this creating with ease, which is really, anyway, I love it. This, we'll actually look at, one of the secrets is what I'm doing right now, which is, anyway, go with the first ones off.
Okay, so I'm going to go with the one that I'm going to go with the one that really always gets me the most, and it's so creating from allowance. That's the one that always tends to get me, and basically that means, you know, allowance is the ability to just receive everything as it is, not get stuck with it, you know, have no judgment. It's like no form, no structure, no definition, no linearity, no concentricities. You go with, you know, what gets created from your choice, from your previous choices. I know for me, personally, when I first became a certified facilitator, I went straight in, okay, well, this is what I have to do. This is what a certified facilitator does. I have to do this class, that class, blah, 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 blah. And it was all very linear. It was all very, oh, well, you know, here we go. I've got to do a bars class first and then foundation classes. Then I can do telecalls and then I can do this and then keep going. And then, you know what? I first do them in Australia and then I'll go overseas and do classes. And 2 years down the track, is that how it turned out? No, of course not. I started out doing telecalls. I ended up doing my first foundation class in South Africa just recently. You know, it's not what I had defined it or boxed it in to be. You know, the whole space of allowance is, because I'm a massive thinker. Prior to doing Access, my point of view about, you know, creating was I had to know the answer for everything. And if I knew what the worst case scenario was, I nailed it. That was how I created. So all the information in the entire world, it was, I had to like know everything. So if anyone had a question, I had the answer. Now, you know, to have to let go of all of that and be in a space of allowance for who and what is created from my choices when I do create, and not boxing them in and asking questions and being aware that what I think may not be correct, and it probably isn't mine anyway. Using the tools of Access is just it makes me laugh and smile a lot, because the other side of it is that I'm fast. Like if I want to create, I'm fast. I'll create, I'll go. If something has to be done fast now, we're waiting for. Like, why we stay? So for me, it's being that fast. I've also thought I've had to slow myself down in order to create and to be in that space of creation and to have that allowance. And what I have found is that it's not about slowing myself down. It's about just being more present. So in my space of creation, with the allowance, being more present kind of gets me to that space of allowance that gets me to my space of creation. And being more present is something that also gives me more ease with my body and far more allowance. When I'm present, I ask more questions. So then I don't get stuck in, judging or trying to define my creation. I'm always being in the question with it. So that just gives me a hell of a lot of ease for creating and for, being present and just not judging me and not killing my creations at the same time. So that's ingredient number one.
Awesome. That's so funny that you picked that, because that's actually exactly like what I was referring to before you picked that one. For me, allowance, right? Receiving everything, no barriers, no resistance, no reaction. And for me, when I'm creating, it's about allowing the creation to be what it desires in the world, allowing the creation to have its own space, so I have an idea or something comes up that wants to get created, and I communicate with that idea. Okay, what do you want to be in the world? And then not being in resistance and reaction to whatever shows up. The space of creation, we both sort of had this idea of what that was, but then once it actually started, once we chose it and started creating it, it changed. Practical Magic has changed since we started creating it. We're not exactly sure what else it wants to be in the world, but we're an allowance of it showing us when and where and how to change it and all of that. So allowance for the creation to be, and for you to be, like Za was saying, present with whatever that is. So if you decide that it's going to be this way or that it should go this way, and then it doesn't go that way, and then you go into resistance or reaction, or no, but this is the way that I wanted it to go, and this is what I thought. Where is the energy of the creation in that? The energy of the idea that wants to be brought into the world. And that whole piece of not having to have it all figured out right now is another piece as well. What is, okay, sorry. Squirrel. Squirrel. When I created pole dancing for consciousness, I had absolutely no idea, none. I'm telling you, none. No idea what it wanted to be in the world. And so I started asking questions, and I was like, okay, well, I'll just have a test class and see what shows up. And then I called Gary and talked to him, and just allowing it to be. And then it blew up, and all of a sudden I was in Chicago teaching and in Orange County, and then I was in Sweden, and I'm like, okay, and I'm still being present with whatever it wants to be. And then it kind of got quiet for a while, and I was like, oh, hello, being an allowance of that space, whatever that was. And then out of the blue, after Dubai, again, it's oh my God, I want this and I want this and I want this. And I'm like, oh, okay. Again, I'm a talk to the entities facilitator, and I'm autistic. So things talk to me and I don't make myself crazy for it. I actually am an allowance of receiving that information and co-creating with my creations. So, and then all of a sudden, again, it's really loudly saying, okay, this is what I would like. This is what it's going to turn into. It's telling me how much it wants to be now, the changes that are required in order for it to grow and expand. So it's allowance in all areas. Allowance of the creation, allowance of you, and allowance of however it chooses to show up in the world. Because trust me, it will be greater than anything that you could have imagined. And that's the beauty of consciousness having your back, and that's the beauty of creation. When you get out of your head and out of your mind, it will be greater than anything you could have imagined. So,
and Patty, just with the whole allowance in the space of creation, something else that you can use, a question you can ask is, what would it take for me to be 50-50 with whatever it is I'm creating, or with whoever it is I'm creating, or with everyone that's a part of this? When you are willing to allow your creation to add and contribute to you and it, you've got like another teammate. You've got another member of your team, and it knows where it wants to go. It knows what it wants to be. We're the ones that actually stop our creations from being the greatest contribution on the planet. So by asking to be 50-50, it means you're allowing it to contribute to you and the creation as well. And
you're equal in the creation.
Yeah.
I don't make, that entity or that whatever greater than me. I mean, it requires me to come into this reality, and I require, you're equal in that creation. I don't know.
Correct.
If anyone has any questions about being 50-50, like you can either be 49%, 51%, like you're making someone greater than you and you're making yourself less. So yeah, I love that. Awesome. Okay. I think we got it. So what's our next secret ingredient to creating with ease?
The next one is joy.
Yay! Is this joy and pleasure, or is pleasure separate? Did I just ruin it?
Pleasure's separate, and I'll leave that for you. Okay. I know you didn't ruin it. You just gave them a sneak peek of what's to come.
Okay, go for it, joy.
So joy, joy is a word where it's self-explanatory, and yet it's one of the hardest things that people can look at for themselves. The energy of joy is different, again, for everyone. So you have to know what that is for you. Have a look at things that make you joyful. Have a look at how that actually is with your body. Like, do you get tingles? Do you start to feel like you're about to burst? Do you get a big smile on your face? What are the indicators that this person or this scenario or this creation is full for you? When you look at creating, does your body start to ping, or are you just like, for me, I know there was something I was looking at choosing the other day and creating from that choice, and it's weird. I do this whole like, oh my God, I'm about to burst like thing, which is really weird because I'm actually kind of contracting, but I'm about to like totally explode at the same time. So joy is one of those things that find what is joyful for you, find those indicators, and then you will know when you're looking at what it is you would like to create or who you would like to create with, when those indicators show up, that's when you know that that's the choice for you. So that is joy. Patty,
yes.
You have a few things to say about joy.
I do. Okay. So I'm actually in the spirit of creation in the moment. Let's talk about joy and pleasure together. And then I'm going to throw in the third thing. And then I think I'm going to, I don't know your name, honey, but I'm going to mute you because it's just bringing in a little bit of static. If you have a question or anything, please, again, feel free to unmute yourselves. So the energy of joy, and Za touched on it a bit as well, but also pleasure. So we were looking at this a little bit earlier today, and I know that when I'm creating, and I'm creating from that space of joy and my body is turned on, then things get created so much easier than if I'm like pushing, or things are heavy, or there's like a fight or any of that. Like creation can actually be so easy when you are creating with joy and with pleasure, when you're inviting your body to contribute to the creation, and you're inviting like the energies of pleasure that are in your body to fuel that creation. So imagine a time like when you have this idea, and we're also looking a little bit at like light and heavy. If it's light, usually for me that turns on my body, and it's an expansive light sort of sensation, right? So if it's light, it's true for you, follow the energy. If it's heavy, then it's not true for you, and then don't go there. So think of a time when you had an idea and you were creating something, and it was flowing and things were happening, and it was fast and it was easy, and it was just happening. So was that joyful for you? Was that pleasurable for you? And then think of a time when you had an idea and it was that, and then at some point it changed. And then all of a sudden it became heavy and it was confusing, and your mind got involved, and all this stuff started to show up, and then it gets heavy and it's hard, and then you're pushing and it's hard. And so what would you like to choose? That for me is the energy of creating with joy and pleasure. Now, that's not to say that it's always joyful and pleasurable, right? But there is that, like, can you, in those moments where it becomes heavy and challenging and however that shows up for you, what if you infused joy and pleasure into the situation? Would you be able to change it? I think so. What if you infuse like that sexualness, that sexual energy that is part of you and your body, expand it out and infused it into that moment and change it? Because you're an infinite being and you can do that. How does it get better? So yeah, joy, pleasure, inviting your body, it will just create more ease. And that's my Did you have something else?
Yeah, I was just going to say, God, I'm so grateful working with Patty, because she has this amazing capacity with bodies. Her body, like, in Access, we say that, your body is your greatest and biggest awareness tool. And yet we don't use it like it's there to be used. It's always available. It wants to contribute. Patty does, which is great. She has taught me so much and shown me so much about how, I can use that now for me in my body. And granted, my body does some strange things sometimes. However, I'm talking to it a bit more. I'm using it now when I do create. So, the joy and the pleasure part is now adding to my space of creation, which, definitely the pleasure part for my body side of things wasn't there prior. So I just had to put a little side note in there, Patty.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. And for me, like, when I perceive an idea that desires to be in the world, like if my body turns on and I'm turned on, I know, yes. And I know that it's going to happen. I don't need to know how, and I don't need to know the steps. I just know, okay, yes, I'll have that now. And then I go into question immediately. What's it going to take for this to come to fruition? Who do I need to meet today? Who do I need to talk to? What do I need to be or do? So the questions in that particular sense are endless. And what contribution can your body be to your creations? So the third one, since we mixed up joy and pleasure, because that's just what the energy was saying, the third one occurred to me right before we got on the call, and Za and I were chatting about it. And so ask and you shall receive. Are you asking for what you desire to create in the world? Do you know that it is as easy as just asking? I can't believe we didn't think about this before. Obviously, we didn't think about it. But so I was looking at this because when I was at the top of the Burj Khalifa looking out into Dubai, it all just sort of like came to me. I had actually gone to like a weekend seminar event with a friend on how to like become a speaker and what to be or do. And I was like, oh, okay, I kind of like this. Okay, but the energy of that group wasn't quite there. I was like, okay, what's it going to take for that to show up in my life? Okay. And then, a couple months later, my lover and I were talking about different places in the world that we might want to live. And we were looking at Dubai because of like the wealth of the area and, the ease of creation of companies and money and all that. And I was like, oh yeah, that's kind of, I'm going to need to check out Dubai. But I knew that like they were doing I think they're doing a choice of possibilities, but in September. And I was like, well, that's too far away. Like, what's it going to take for this to show up now? And I just asked. I didn't do anything. I didn't, I just put it out there. And then like a month later, I get this opportunity to go to a speaking event in Dubai. And I was like, how does it get better than that? And I chose it. And that choice changed everything in my life. It's still unfolding. It's still like, it changed stuff for me. It changed stuff for my lover. It just changed stuff, So where are you not asking for what you desire? Like, where are those times in your life where you see something or you perceive something and you're like, yeah, I'd like that. What's it going to take for that to show up? And then receiving it, lowering your barriers, see, I get all happy and excited, right? Lowering your barriers, allowing your body to contribute energy to that demand, and then letting the universe gift it to you with ease. So there you have it. Just ask for it. Back to you, Za.
Gosh, so simple. Like all of these tools are just so simple. And, with the whole ask and receive, just be aware it may not show up the way in which that you've defined it to show up, or you would like it to show up, or you want it to show up. So if you are just present with it and present with the energy, if the energy is the same as what your creation is, or the way your body buzzes, well then, look at it and have a look at what you've been asking for. This match it. Things show up in the most random, weird ways. When you do ask for something, look at what it is that you're really asking for. Like people will ask for, a lot of money. Okay, that's great. It's like, the universe is going to hear, okay, a lot of money. What does that mean? Does that mean it comes in like little 1 cent pieces, one every day for the next 50,000 years? Or does it mean it's a lotto? What is it? Be clear with what it is that you would like to have. You don't have to be totally, it's not about the specificity of getting the words correct. It's about the energy. When you look at what it is you're asking for, look at the energy that you're aware of, that's present there, that is available. And that's also the joy, pleasure, of your body. So it's not about, I want a 6-foot guy. He's got to have hair, green eyes, be very wealthy, blah, 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 blah. It's more like, what, if I was to have a relationship with someone, what would that look like? What would that be like? And get the energy of it, not the exact, the exact definition of who they have to look like or what they have to look like or what job they have. You're just looking at an energy here. And that's the energy that, when you come across that energy again, you tap into and you choose in that direction rather than anything else. So ask and you shall receive. It may seem like a really simple tool or a really simple thing to do. However, how many of you have actually asked the universe for any, just today? What have you asked for today? Because I know I actually haven't asked for anything just yet.
You just woke up, though.
I may have asked. Well, yeah.
You've got time. Think of something quick.
I've got the entire day. And I'm I'm glad I reminded myself too. So, just ask. Maybe you can kind of, with your creations, you can, oh God, there's so many questions you can ask, and of course I can't think of any right now. But just getting up in the morning and, looking at who am I today and what grand and glorious adventure am I going to have? That's an ask. You're asking the universe, what? Who am I? Let's go. Whatever and whoever shows up, it's going to be an adventure, and it's all going to be with ease, joy, and glory. So that's a nice little ask that you can do every morning with your creations. You don't have to, with your creations as well, it doesn't have to be that you create it all by yourself. So you can also ask who and what is willing and able to contribute to this creation coming to fruition. And when I say by the who and what, the what could be an article you read, it could be something you watch, or, on TV, something that someone says. And the who is not necessarily an embodied person. It could be an entity. It could be an entity being another business. It could be a disembodied entity. It could be the spirits of the earth. There is a lot of people and there are a lot of entities on the planet that are willing and able to contribute to us if we are willing to receive them and their contribution.
Awesome.
If you'd like to know more about entities, you can ask Patty. She's a facilitator for talking.
Awesome. So cool. So the 3 secrets that we have discovered, which are kind of 4 at this point, but we'll go with 3. The space of allowance, being an allowance of your creations, being an allowance of you and what's showing up, creating with pleasure and with joy, inviting your body to contribute to your creations, creating from like the lightness of it, creating from joy, like not the pushing or the fighting, and then asking for what you desire to create to just show up, and then receiving that contribution from the universe or however it desires to show up. Does anyone have any questions that have come up? Yes.
I do. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Hi.
It's Romana. Hi.
Hi, Romana.
So I have this question because so many times in my life I had experienced that I created something and then people just criticized it to the point that they destroyed all the pleasure and all the joy. And I kind of stop myself often right before I finish something, kind of preventing or protecting myself from having that kind of experience again.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So, I'm just trying to, so no one can actually kill your joy or pleasure. They
yeah,
can,
but I was, sorry, I was so often stuck, like they were so intense that I kind of got in their universe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes. So it's like 2 parallel universes. So I have me and my reality, and then this pushed in reality, and it's sometimes so intense that I cannot find me in it.
Right. So that's so interesting that you're bringing that up, because it's actually a really relevant topic that I was looking at when I was in Dubai and that I've been looking at a lot lately. And it's that, like, that sense that you have of who you be and who you be in a situation, and being that no matter what shows up around you. And granted, a lot of those energies can be quite intense, but at the same time, like, staying and being present with you and expanding your energy out and still being present with you, and like, okay, there's this energy here and there's that energy here. Where am I? Who am I being right now? Where am I being right now? And if I were truly being me, what would I choose? And anything that doesn't allow you to perceive, know, be, and receive that, will you destroy and uncreate it?
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, POC, pot, all nine shorts, boys, beyonds. Because, you know, it's actually a capacity to be able to be aware of other people's universes. Not everyone chooses that, you know, so don't turn it off. Be aware of it. And how can you use that capacity to your advantage? Now, choosing to make yourself small, that's an interesting choice, right? So what would it take, instead of choosing to make yourself small, to be the dominant space that you truly be, and saying like, no, you know, this is what I'm aware of. This is how, does that make sense?
Yeah, but yeah, that's exactly the thing I had the most hard time with.
Yeah, it's a practice.
Yeah, like I'm not allowed to be so big. I'm not.
Oh, honey, everything that is where you just created. Right, wrong, good, bad, POC, pot, all nine shorts, boys, beyonds. Everyone, we are not doing anyone any favors by making ourselves small. You are allowed to be that big, and you're allowed to be that big and more. And anything.
And then they feel so offended and then so hurt, and then I feel.
Girl, those are fabulous manipulations on their part to keep you.
Yeah, right.
Don't buy them as real. Yeah. Don't buy them as real. And this is interesting because I was thinking about this before the call, or I just became aware of this before the call, of like, people always accuse you of what they themselves are doing.
Yeah.
So everywhere where they were accusing you of being da 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 da, be aware, people always accuse you of what they themselves are doing. Always.
And so hearing that made my life so much easier.
Yeah. Yeah. And everywhere you're choosing for others rather than choosing for you. You're choosing for other people's points of views, for other people's judgments, rather than choosing for what you know and choosing for you. So everything that brings up, will you destroy and uncreate it?
Yeah, I would.
Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. There is something that each of you have, each and every single one of you on this call and listening to this in the future. There is something that only you have to gift to the world, that only you can create in the world. Do not give that up for anyone. For anyone. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you guys for doing this.
You're welcome. Our pleasure. Anyone else before we wrap up?
Can I ask a question, please?
Yes, you may.
So it's Karen. I'm in Melbourne, Australia.
Hi, Karen.
I feel like I don't know what I desire. Not sort of out in the world kind of desire. So then I don't know what to ask for. So what could I do to change that?
Is that yours?
I got yes and no.
So is that yours?
Well, as I want to give you the finger, I'd say probably no.
So,
oh, bugger. There goes my excuse.
Exactly. So tell me one thing that you'd like to create. And everything that brings up, will you destroy and uncreate it? Is she frozen just for me?
No, I think she's stuttering as well for me.
Well, I'd like to become a CF.
You'd like to become a CF.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. So all the decisions, judgments, conclusions, and computations that you've made about that, will you destroy and uncreate them?
Yeah.
Right, wrong, good, bad, POC, pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So,
It was,
yeah.
I was just going to say, it was like a whole lot of things just flashed before my eyes.
Right.
About conclusions and things that I had around that. So thank you for that.
Yeah. So when we decide something and we come to a conclusion about something, it stops the energy of creation. So keep running that process, all the decisions, judgments, conclusions, computations, all the projections, expectations, separations, rejections, and judgments. And every time you hear yourself say, I don't know what I want to create, stop. So even the decision that you don't know what you want to create is actually creating you not knowing. So you are creating, you're just creating not knowing.
Yeah, it's kind of like a loop.
Yeah. Okay, so all the I don't knows that you've put on a Mobius strip so that you don't create your life, so that you have an excuse to not create, will you revoke, recant, rescind, renounce, denounce, destroy, and uncreate all the oaths, vows, fealties, communities, swearings, binding and bonding contracts throughout all lifetime, space, and dimensions?
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pock, pot, all nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. Ooh. Yeah. And start looking around you to get that energetic sense of what you would like to have. And every time that I don't know comes up, destroy and uncreate it, all the DJCCs, all of that. And start looking around you. And when your body goes, ooh, oh, I'd like to have that. And then make that demand.
I get that it's not allowed every time that there's a desire for something that just would be so wonderful. There's this not allowed.
So what is that?
Crap.
Are you creating not being allowed?
Apparently a lot.
Yeah. And this is, a very potent creator that we're talking to right here.
It's really funny because as this whole entire time I'm sitting here going, I don't create anything.
Oh my God, you are too funny. Okay, so here's some homework for everyone. In the next 24 hours, I want you to look at your life. And I think we may have done this in another one, but let's do it again. I want you to look at your life 5 years ago and acknowledge everything that you've created since then. Where were you 5 years ago? Where were you 3 years ago? Where were you a year ago? And where are you today? And to contribute to the energy of creation in your life, it is so important to acknowledge what you have created. So when you can acknowledge what you have created, then that energy can show up even more. The not allowed, Rachel. Is that
funny
yours?
when you just said not allowed right now, I heard not out loud. It took me like a couple of seconds to make that switch. So I wonder what that is.
Well, what energy, space, and consciousness can you and your body be to be as the loud ass bitch you truly be?
You've been seeing my videos recently. I'm becoming a little more loud. I'm having fun being a little more loud.
Actually, I saw the one you had with the panda face, and I was like, yeah.
Oh, you shall see the one I did yesterday with Mr. Zebra.
I love it.
But
so, okay,
again, it goes back to I'm having fun and I'm having joy and I'm having pleasure and like doing and being things that were like, oh, you're not supposed to make yourself silly in public and how dare you and all that kind of stuff. Even, like I'll take one of those little videos that you see on Facebook that are like 10 seconds long that I've made that I will send out in like one of the mommy groups. And there's dead silence afterwards. Of course, maybe they're not ready to receive that, but it's this energy of whatever this is not.
Honey, is it yours? Is it yours?
Oh, fuck you.
Just aware of everyone else's projections and expectations. You're just aware. You don't have to do anything with that. You're just like, oh, okay, there's that. It's not yours. It's not
when
yours.
I've been used to that,
It
like
doesn't match the energy of you.
No. Wow. I get this like eye rolling every time I make a video, and I'm having so much fucking fun with it. And you know, I get this like, there she goes again. You know.
Yeah, babe. There I go again. What are you gonna do about it? Okay.
Yeah. That's more me. Thank you.
Bring it. What are you gonna create today? This is what I'm doing. What are you gonna do? There I go again. Yeah, I'm gonna go again tomorrow too. I'm gonna go every day.
I like it. And what will it take to create beyond the having fun for me? What will it take to create something that's more like what you guys are doing in terms of the invitations to classes, and to have the success, and to have the, you know, the ease with.
So everywhere you think you're not creating that, will you destroy and uncreate it?
Yeah. Everywhere I've decided.
Okay, this is the lady that co-created Seduciendo la Conciencia, right? This like,
which is lots of fun. Everybody, you can pour yourself tequila and sit through 9 hours of videos in Spanish with amazing people.
Day-long program where she like brought together all of these facilitators that speak Spanish that were like sort of out in the ethers. And she brought us all together and we created something magical. This is the lady who's heading Brillantes because, you know, I was like, so what's going on with that? She's like, I don't know. And I'm like, what do you want to create? And then all of a sudden she's doing the whole thing. Okay, you stop it. You stop it right now. Come on. This
and
is
again, those creations that are always free. Anytime it's about receiving something for the creation.
Well, what if you're receiving... See, this is what I was talking about earlier, like it not being linear. And what are you receiving from the creation? What are you receiving that may not look like paper money right now, but are you asking for the money to show up? Are you asking like, money come, money come, money come, all that? Keep doing it. Sometimes the universe takes a while to rearrange itself to give you what you're asking for. But just because it hasn't shown up like right now doesn't mean that it's not happening or that it's not going to come. So just keep asking and stop pretending like you're not creating. Stop it. Okay, so we're at the top of the hour.
He's so cute.
Go ahead, Za.
Well, I was just going to say, you know, what you touched on with Rachel, and something that Karen said when she first started speaking was, Karen came out with, I feel like, and it just kind of tweaked me when you said, well, is that even yours? Anytime you hear something in your head where you use the word feel, it's not yours. It's just a blatant not yours. So asking the question, who does it belong to, and just returning it will start to dissipate a lot of that, if not just get rid of it straight away. So I just thought I'd add that in for both Rachel and Karen.
Totally. And
who does it belong to?
Yeah. And the more you get your bars running, the more you do access, and the more you put yourself out there, the more aware you're going to become. The more aware of other people's stuff you are going to become. So who does this belong to? As, you know, simple or as a beginner kind of tool as it is imperative, you know, to really keep that question in your pocket. I was in Dubai one night and I was like, I got to get out of here. I have to pack and I got to go and I got to go. And it so wasn't mine. I like started packing. I was like, wait a minute, I don't need to go. And it turned out like one of the ladies in the group had a business emergency and she had to leave. But I was like packing, like if I had to leave, and I was like, what am I doing? This isn't mine. So anyway. Okay, so Za, we are at the top of the hour. Do you want to close this out here? I know that went by super fast. Thank you all so much. How much?
It did, yeah. Okay, so Patty and I have been looking at when we started Practical Magic. We had there was an idea of what we wanted to create, what it wanted to create, all of that. And as we've come along, it's actually, we kind of just became aware of this, I think on the second one, Killing Your Creations, is that our 3 calls now, our 3 the webinars, the 3 facilitation calls, have actually created a 3-part creation series. So what we're going to be doing is we are going to be selling the creation series online. Now, before we do that though, we still have a facilitation call to go to be done about the space of creation. So if there are things on here that kind of piqued your interest or kind of made you feel uncomfortable, or something you would like to look at further, and really get what that space of creation is for you, we will be having a facilitation call. What date did we say, Patty? I think June the 6th.
Yes.
June the 6th at 2 p.m. PST. That's when the facilitation call will be for Space of Creation. It'll be 90 minutes. It'll be a Zoom like this, and totally a free-for-all. Just ask whatever questions, any questions you would like to about Space of Creation or anything else, really. Now, what we're going to do, so if you are to book in for that facilitation call within the next 48 hours, we're actually going to give you our first facilitation call that we did, which was on question, choice, and possibility. So that one wasn't available to the public, so to speak, or to anyone else apart from the people that paid for that call or were on our packages back then. So we're going to have that as a special gift to you guys if you book in for our Space of Creation facilitation call in the next 48 hours.
And by book in, for those of you who
So
are
the package,
in Australia, she means register. I'm like, book in? Are we a hotel? So you've got 48 hours to register for the facilitation call, which is happening on June 6th. And what's going to happen after the next 48 hours, if you go to our YouTube channel, we have the 3 webinars and the facilitation call on there for free for anyone to watch. So what's going to happen is in the next 48 hours, we're actually going to take that down and we're going to convert it into, the creation series. So if you register in the next 48 hours, you're going to get that first call. So then within the next 48 hours, you would actually have access to the entire package so far. And then if you register for the call, then you'll have access for the entire creation series like now. And that'll change because we're going to take it down and turn it into a product. So there you go. We'll send out links to the replay as well as the link to register right after the call. So that's our kind of special gift is, get it all for free now. Or for, the facilitation call is going to be $97. So you'll get all of that for $97. And then after that, then it's gonna go up in price. Awesome. So there you go. Our top 3 secrets to creating with ease. I hope it was as much fun for you as it was for me and Za. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for being here. Love you too, Rachel. That's it. That's all, that's all. That's all we have to say. What a day.
Now go off and create.
Yes, now go create. Awesome. See you on the facilitation call. And that's it. Have an amazing day and we'll be in touch. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.